Wonderful. Well, thank you very much,
Hey,
Adam, for having me. Oh,
uh,
go ahead.
thank you very much for coming today. This is the first ever M-Moodle webinar presentation. Today we have Chad Bousley, who is the Senior Instructional Designer at Oakland University in Rochester, Michigan, right? MI. Is that
correct?
Okay. Yeah. So he has been a instructional designer and e-learning specialist since 2020. Start of the pandemic came in, and also has a master's degree in German Studies in TESOL from Michigan State University, as well as a Bachelor of Arts in German Studies and Classical Guitar Performance from Albion College. And he is here today to talk to us all about H5P activities. So, and without any further ado, thank you very much. Take it away, Chad.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Adam, for having me. Very excited to be here virtually, although I would love to be in Japan with all of you if I could be. So yes, today we are talking about H5P activities, and the goal is quick and easy. So activities that you all can make in 10 minutes or less, just because there are a lot of different activity types. And a lot of faculty that I work with generally become a bit overwhelmed with the amount of different activity types in the content bank. At least we use it in a content bank in Moodle at my institution. And a lot of faculty tend to ask me three of the same questions I hear over and over again. Where do I start? Which activities do you find to be most useful? And how long will this take to build? There are certain activities that can take a long time to build. For example, branching scenarios can be one that's a little bit more complicated. But today we will be focusing on high impact activities that take very little time to create. In an ideal world, under 10 minutes. With some of these demos, you might even see me be able to complete some of these 5 minutes and under. So feel free as well, Adam, or anyone else attending, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me throughout today. So there are a few different activities we'll be taking a look at today. There are other ones that you can also build very quickly, but the ones that I thought might be most useful for a lot of the audience today is fill in the blank activities, drag the word activities, crossword puzzles, image hotspots, and flashcards. Like I said, there are a ton of other activities you can build and build fairly quickly. So let's go ahead and take a quick look. I will discuss each activity a little bit and then do a short demo on how you do each of these activities. But first, you may be wondering, well, why use H5P in Moodle? There are quite a few reasons. One of the ones that I really like is encouraging active learning. I've gotten feedback from a lot of faculty I work with who say, you know, my students are sick of just doing discussion boards all day long, and they want something more interactive and more engaging. And so a lot of H5P activities allow students to do a lot more active learning. Instead of, you know, just writing a response, they can actually do something with the activity. I love the fact that a lot of H5P activities have really interactive visuals, especially when it comes to image hotspots. There are a lot of great things you can do with interactive visuals. And as my job, not only as an instructional designer, but as a language teacher, I love H5P activities for practice and review, whether it's grammar, whether it's vocabulary, concepts, things like that. It's so useful for comprehension checks. And my general practice when I use H5P when I teach is I generally will give my students unlimited attempts so they can really practice it as much as they would like. Depending on how you have H5P set up with your LMS, with Moodle, we have it set up at our institution so it can be affiliated with a gradebook or ungraded. So that's really up to the instructor if you want to have it, you know, graded or ungraded. But the biggest takeaway I would say from using H5P and Moodle is just increasing engagement in online courses, right? We want to build a space virtually where students can learn autonomously, get good feedback, be able to engage with the course material, and H5P offers a lot of great opportunities when it comes to that. So let's start off with fill in the blanks. So what I like about this the most is honestly how easy it is to build this. And I promise folks, I am not a salesperson for H5P, so I apologize if I sound like I'm trying to sell you this great tool, but I'm just a big fan of it, and I love using it in my teaching and with a lot of faculty I work with. I help them build these activities. But what I love about fill in the blank is if you find a passage online that you really like, or you can write your own passage, you can really decide what you want to do with the fill in the blanks. What I mean by that is, do you want to focus on vocabulary or key concepts, maybe definitions? I love fill in the blanks as well for specific types of language. So maybe, for example, if you're in an English class, maybe your students are having a difficult time with verb tense, or even third person verbs can be difficult for some folks in English. So you could have a fill in the blank activity where they do that. With the German courses that I teach, I do it a lot for quick comprehension checks. So now that we've briefly discussed fill in the blanks, let me go over to my Moodle LMS. So let me share my screen here, and we'll take a quick look at how you can build this. And so it may look different for all of you depending on how you have your Moodle set up. For us, we have it in our content bank. So in order for me to find this, I go add, and then I need to scroll down to fill in the blank. And as I said, folks, some faculty get overwhelmed because there are, I believe, over 40 different activity types. So we're giving you 5 today that you can work on to get your feet wet. I'll just call this fill in the blanks example. You can change the task, and here, let me zoom in slightly, folks. Hopefully that's a bit easier for everyone to see. You can change the description if you would like. I'll leave this be for now. And then this is where I mentioned, if you found something online, you could easily copy and paste this. And then anything that you put asterisks to the left and the right of will become a blank. So since I'm presenting virtually from Michigan, I'll write a short passage about Michigan. So if any of you are curious, you might learn a little something. So Michigan is located in the, and I put my asterisk, Midwest. Many people refer to the state as the mitten state because our state is in the shape of a glove or a mitten. The capital of Michigan is Lansing. Let's see here. The 2 largest universities are, actually, we'll make universities the blank to fill in here, are University of Michigan and Michigan State University. Okay, obviously you can write a lot more than this, but this is just to show all of you a quick example here. You can also give feedback. So if I wanted to, maybe instead of 0 to 100, I can add the range and go 0 to 50. And I could say, please try again. Actually, you know what? We'll do 0 to 75. And then 76 to 100, something like great job or what have you. You can also adjust the behavioral settings. So I usually don't make things case sensitive, so I will get rid of this option. It's up to you if you want to have them automatically check their answers. I do like requiring all fields. And also too, depending on how strict you want to be with spelling, you can accept minor spelling errors. Be aware that sometimes if you have numbers, this can be a good thing to have, just because we've seen some instances where there have been some issues with numbers. So I'll allow that for now, and then I'll go ahead and hit save. And now what you'll see in just a moment here is the example. So here is my fill in the blank. So now I can test it. Midwest as the mitten state. We'll see how good my memory is. Lansing, the 2 largest. And I'll do this just so you can see what it looks like if it's incorrect. So I put the 2 largest colleges instead of universities. Then I can check it. And it gives me my score, shows me what is correct, what is incorrect. And then if I hit show solution, it will then show me where I made the mistake, I can hit retry and go all over again. So as you can see, I didn't time myself there, but I would assume that was probably under about 5 minutes to build this fill in the blanks example. So, like I said, depending on what your goals are, um, you can tailor this. So if you really want to focus on verbs or past tense or certain vocabulary, there's a lot of good you can do there. So yes, yeah, it's not Detroit, believe it or not. A lot of people think the capital of Michigan is Detroit, but it is Lansing. Okay, so drag the words is another great one, and I love this as a language teacher. There's a lot of really useful things you can do with the drag the words activities. So basically, this is more like you have almost like a word blank and you need to drag the words in the correct order. I saw one of my colleagues at Michigan State actually use this for sequencing words, which I thought was a really interesting way to use drag the words. So they had an essay with paragraphs and they had, first, second, and then they had also words that would connect different sentences and things like that. So there's a lot of really, really useful things you can do when it comes to drag the words. So let me go ahead and share my screen again, and we'll take a look at drag the words. And folks, if you have any questions as I'm going along here, feel free to either ask them in the chat or if you want to unmute your mic. So now I need to scroll down to D for drag the words. And by the way, there is drag and drop. This is more if you want to use images and things like that. This does take a lot more time to make, though, than a drag the words activity, which is why I'm not covering that one today. But maybe at some point, Adam, I'll need to do maybe a H5P 10 minutes or more presentation where we can talk about some of the more complicated ones. So, okay, so we've got drag the words. Oops. I'll just call this. Okay, so I talked about Michigan in the last example. I think it's only fair for me to talk about Japan, even though I don't have nearly as much knowledge as all of you. So here, once again, you could copy and paste the text and then add the asterisks. You could certainly do that. I'm going to write something again here. So I was fortunate enough to attend the Moodle Moot in Kyoto in 2025. So I guess I'll write a little bit about my experience there. So I'll start off with Kyoto is a beautiful city in Japan. The city has numerous temples and has a beautiful, I'm trying to remember the I can't believe I forgot the name of all right, we'll do something else here. So he has numerous temples, and we'll end that sentence there. Let's see here. Some people really enjoy visiting the not sure if that's the correct term for it, but there was a part of the city where it looked more like an old town or something like that. Let's see here. While in Japan, ate a lot of ramen. I don't know about any of you, but I absolutely love tonkatsu. Probably not the healthiest thing to eat, but absolutely delicious. We need a comma here. Let's see here. What else should we say? Don't speak. Okay. All right. So now I've got my couple sentences here. You can add distractors. So maybe I'll put Tokyo as a distractor. Let's see here. I'll do, let's see here, sushi. What's another good one? No. And please. Okay. So now I have some distractors here. So these will also show up kind of like in a word bank. Then once again, kind of similar to what we saw in the last example. So you can add specific feedback depending on the score. You also can allow retry, show solution, and instant feedback. We can kind of skip this text overrides and translations. I haven't tested these out, which is why I don't recommend this. I'm not sure how good, if you were to translate this into a foreign language, if it would work properly. So we'll go ahead and hit save, and then you'll get to see what drag the words looks like. So right here we have in the blue spaces, we have our blanks. And then over here on the right-hand side, we have all of the words. So here, so for example, I'll drag Tokyo over here as a beautiful city in Japan. The city has numerous temples. Some people really enjoy visiting the old town. While I was in Japan, I ate a lot of, and I'll add a few that were a distractor so you can see what this looks like. I ate a lot of sushi and tonkatsu. Though I don't speak very much Japanese, I was able to say yes. And we'll put yes and no. I mean, this sentence technically does make sense, right? But this isn't correct. So we'll go ahead and check it. And so here, once again, you can see what was correct and incorrect. You can show the solution, so it will show the words next to it as well. And then I could retry this if I wanted to. So once again, depending on your goal, if you wanted to focus more on grammar, if you wanted to focus more on vocabulary, there's a lot of different ways you can approach these drag the words examples. Okay, so we've gone over 2 so far. And thank you, folks, for joining here. We've talked about fill in the blanks and drag the words. Now let's take a look at Crossword. And what I saw in practice that I thought was a fun and genius way to use the crossword is a faculty I was working with actually made a syllabus quiz as a crossword puzzle. So the first week of their class, they had things like, what day are the assignments due? So if they're due on Sundays, they would have to write Sunday, for example. They had, my office hours are, Monday from 7 to 8, or something like that. So I thought that was a really fun and interesting way to do a syllabus quiz. And you could do this for any other type of quiz or concept review, something like that. So in that same vein, let me go ahead and share my screen, and we can, I guess I'll kind of recreate a little syllabus quiz. So let's just pretend you all have read my syllabus for my learning H5P 101 course. And I'm going to give you a quick syllabus quiz. So I click on Crossword. I'll call this syllabus quiz example. And then here I might say write the correct word from the syllabus. Or you could say write the correct answer maybe from the syllabus, something like that. And then all you need to do is write a clue. So maybe how many exams are there? Sorry, folks, if you can hear my dog barking in the background, I apologize. How many exams are there? We'll say 5 exams. That's a lot of exams. Okay. Then we've got another clue here. What day are the assignments due? We'll say Sundays. You can do an extra clue if you want. You could also fix the word on the grid. I generally don't, because when they retry it, it'll be in a different order, so it's a little bit more challenging. So I like that aspect of it. Let's see here. When does the instructor have office hours? And we'll say Tuesday. And so as you can see here, the words all go over here, and I can just click this blue add word, and then the clue and the answer. So the clue is really your question, right? So let's see here. Is this class, no, how about this? What modality is class? And we'll say online, or you could say online asynchronous or something like that. I'll do one more just so you all can see. Let's see here. What time are the synchronous lectures? Maybe we'll say 4:30. Okay, so we've got this here. You could do extra clues if you wanted. Now, so here it says overall solution word. I've tried this out and sometimes it's worked and sometimes it has not. So I generally don't recommend using this overall solution word. And then once again, you can give feedback if you would like. So we'll add a range here. This time we'll go 0 to, I don't know, 80%. And we'll say nice work, but please try again. 81 to 100. Great job. You can change. So this is also what's kind of fun about the crossword puzzle is you could add a background image if you wanted to. So, you know, if your crossword puzzle is about springtime, you could have a picture of spring in the background, or if your crossword puzzle is related to food, maybe you have a picture of food on a table or something like that. You can change the color. So this is just the background color. So it'll be a dark blue. The grid will be black. The cell background color will be white, black, and so on. You can change all these if you would like. I tend to leave these stock. I think it looks fine as is, but if you want to have more customizable or more custom looking crossword puzzles, by all means, feel free to mess with some of these colors. The reason why I also tend to leave this as it is, to me, it seems to be a little bit more accessible. Here in the US, we have to adhere to ADA guidelines. So that's why we generally keep them this way, but it's up to you. And then you can also choose how many words you would like if you want to score them. I generally don't apply penalties, but you could if you really wanted to. You can also keep the correct answers on the retry. I usually don't do this just because I want my students to type them out because I think it reinforces the vocabulary and everything else. So I'll go ahead and hit save. And then we'll see our crossword puzzle. That's our syllabus quiz. So what day are the assignments due? And then I type in Sundays. We'll see. How many exams are there? I think I said there were 5 exams. 5 exams. When does the instructor have office hours? I genuinely don't remember. Maybe Tuesday. What time are synchronous lectures? Oh man. Was this 4:30? I think there's a space. No, there's not a space here. Oh, maybe there's. Let's see. Okay, what modality is this class? Online. Okay, and oh wow. And see, I didn't even need to hit show the solution. Just be mindful that if there is a space, there will be a space on the grid here. So that's something to keep in mind when you're coming up with these and crafting these. So once again, it will show us our solution, gives us a score. Here's my feedback. If I would have gotten below 80%, would have said, you know, nice job, but please try again, something like that. So yeah, so this is another really fun, quick and easy H5P activity to build. So I hope you all enjoyed this one. And like I said, depending on how creative you are, you can probably come up with a lot of different use cases for this crossword puzzle. I love it for vocabulary, for spelling. I personally don't use it, too much for grammar, but I use this a lot for vocabulary words. In one of my classes, we used it for food. So I would, describe the food or something like that, and then they would write in the name of the food. Okay, so that was our crossword puzzles. So really, really nice. Then this one is a little bit more complicated, but you can still build it fairly quickly, which is image hotspots. So there are actually there's image hotspot, there's find the hotspot as well, and there's multiple hotspots. So I just want to quickly outline what those different ones are. Just because depending on your use case, you may want one or the other. The nice thing is they're all built in a very similar way. So image hotspots in a nutshell is it's a picture where there are certain areas where you can click. So image hotspots is a little different than find the hotspot, for example, or multiple hotspots. Multiple hotspots just means it's a picture with numerous things you can click on and learn about. Find the hotspot is actually more, that's what I use with my students after they've already done some learning. So, for example, maybe, I don't know why, maybe I should have eaten dinner before this, but food is coming back to mind. So, with students, one thing I'll do, for example, is I might do a multiple hotspots where I'll have, a picture of like a breakfast spread or something like that, and they can click around and see the names of the vocabulary words. So that'll be the first thing, and then I'll do a second hotspot activity called Find the Hotspots, where then they have to find, I'll say, for example, find orange juice, find pancake, things like that. And then I'll have to click. And if they click, it will give them points for clicking in the right area. So I'll show a couple of these because it looks like we've got some time. So I'll show a couple of these just so you all can kind of see the difference to better understand it. And I will say too, for more complicated things that your students need to do, like maps, diagrams, and scientific illustrations, hotspots can be a really great option for you. So let me, and actually here, I'm going to share my window here because I'm going to need to go to Google. Can you all see my Google Chrome okay? I'm hoping so. Yes. Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, so I need to find an image. So we'll just stick with, since I love Kyoto so much, we'll just stick with Kyoto, Japan here. So I'll find an image here. And I can, for example, take this image here. I'm going to save the image. You could download it or save it. I'll just call this Kyoto Hotspot. And the reason why I need to save this is I need to upload it in order to make a hotspot. So let me do that. So I go into my content bank here, and then I click add. And as you'll see in a moment here, when I keep scrolling, when I get to F, we have find multiple hotspots and find the hotspot. So this is kind of what I mentioned, where if you just have one hotspot, then you're going to want find the hotspot. If you are showing a diagram where they have to find numerous things, then I would highly recommend finding multiple hotspots. And then if I scroll down to I, we have image hotspots. So I'll click on image hotspots. We'll start with this one. So Kyoto hotspot. So I need to add my background image. So I click add. And this is where I'm going to add this Kyoto hotspot. And I need to do a browser image for this, an alternate text for this background image. So I'll just say Kyoto skyline at sunset. And then for the hotspots, you could also upload another image for the hotspot, but I'll do a predefined icon. And you can decide, do you want a plus, a minus, a times, a check, a question, info, or exclamation? I'll do info, so I'll click info. And you can choose the color of the hotspot. So you could make it like this purple. You could make it, I'm going to make it a darker black just because I think it might be easier to see with actually, no, makes it harder to see. We'll do white. That will hopefully be easier to see in the image. So we'll click choose. And now we'll have to specifically pick an area where to click. So if I click, for example, right here, that's where the hotspot will be. I could click somewhere else if I wanted to. So I'll click here. And then, so a header for the pop-up. For example, you can add an optional header if you need to. This is more for like screen readers or something like that. Now in the pop-up content, this is where you can add different things. So I'm actually going to add, you could add text and give information about that. I'm actually going to do a video just because I'd like to show all of you how to do this. So now I'm going to go to YouTube and find something about Kyoto. And we're going to paste that into there. So we'll use this one here. Best things to do in Kyoto. I paste this, copy this link. So I think it was 10 best things to do in Kyoto. I click the plus. I paste my URL. I click insert. Now we can see I've got my video here. It's black and it says YouTube. I could add a poster image. I'm not going to do that. I tend to try to leave these pretty simple. Playback, I usually don't do autoplay. just because I would rather have my students have the opportunity to start the video instead of having it just automatically start. And I usually won't loop the video either. So I'm happy with this. So best 10 things to do in Kyoto. I've got my hotspot position here. I think this all should be good. So I will scroll down and click add hotspot. Oops, sorry, folks. Confirm. So I've already added the hotspot. So actually I just need to hit save. And then what you'll see here in just a moment, once my page loads, is I've got my picture of Kyoto. And if I click on this, it takes me to my YouTube video. So as you can imagine, there's a lot of really cool stuff you can do with this. You could link this to a reading if you wanted them to do a reading. You could link to, like I said, a video. You could have text. So if I knew more about the history of Kyoto, I might have a short text blurb about this tower up here. I might have some information maybe about the landscape behind here, things like that. So there's a lot of options you can do with the hotspot. And this is just one hotspot. If I added another hotspot, you would then see a second hotspot, like another image with other information. Let me show you all now how you can do the multiple hotspots. Actually, let me stop sharing for just a minute and check and see any questions. Can students make an H5P quiz? That is a great question. So I am not sure, at least at our institution, students are not able to, but I believe if your students are able to log on to H5P, I'm not sure if it would be .org or .com. They might be able to do that. And I know Bill mentioned using Lumi, so maybe that might be an option, but I'm not 100% sure. For us at our institution, only faculty build H5P activities, but I love thinking about this when it comes to students. That's great.
Okay,
so yes.
I got it. Yeah.
Awesome. And thank you, Bill. I appreciate that. H5P.org. Wonderful. So let me share again, and then we can take a quick look at the other hotspot types, because as I mentioned, there are a couple different ones. So this was just your basic image hotspot. And like I said, I tend to use this more for very basic things like, you show a picture and you have maybe a video link or some text about it. If I want to do something that's a bit more engaging and interactive, that's when I'll go to the content bank and then I'll do find the hotspots. And so I hope you all have had your breakfast over there, because we are going to find an image of some food and we're going to have our students label it. So let me go to Google and we'll do an American breakfast. We'll see what pops up here. American breakfast, there we go. We need something with a couple different options here. So once again, I need to save my image. We'll call this American, American breakfast. That's fine. Certainly not the healthiest, but very, very tasty. Okay, so we'll title this American breakfast. We'll just call it hotspot. So we need to add our background image. So I click add, and then we need to, how did it not? Oh, one moment, folks. Sorry, it didn't save properly. Let me see if I can save this as a JPEG really quick. Potentially not, so let me try a different one. Let's see here. We'll try that. I wanted one ideally with, this will work. This has a drink in there as well. Okay, let's see. Save image as American breakfast. Okay. Oh, let's try again. Oh, that's not a JPEG either. All right, one moment, folks. Let me convert this really quick to JPEG, and then I can upload this. Sorry, had I been more prepared, I would have had all these saved for all of you. My apologies. So let me export it as a JPEG really quick. There we go. All right, let me share again. So anyways, so I've got it now as a JPEG, and I will upload my background image. So here's my American breakfast, and here it is here. So now I need to add my hotspots. So I click on next step. You can either click it up here or down here. It doesn't really matter. I'll click it. So please, so here's the instructions. So please find the, you could say click on or find the coffee eggs, hash browns. I believe that's an English muffin right here. So we've got that. Now we can create either a circle or a rectangle. I'll just do circles, and we'll need it to be correct. So here, 1 second. So we've got our circle. I click, drag, and hold. So this is our correct. So this can be multiple correct. However, the user gets correct, incorrect immediately after the first click. So great. Have an English muffin. And then obviously we want to make this big enough so they'll hopefully click it. And I will say, folks, when I've built some of these hotspots, I've had students click slightly outside of it. So like if they click on that corner right there, it won't count it and they could lose a point. And I have gotten emails from disgruntled students before saying, hey, why did I not get credit for this? So make sure you can encapsulate kind of the whole area here. So once again, we click, drag, and hold. So now we've got our cup of coffee. Have a nice cup of Joe, as some people might say in slang. We've got our coffee there, so that's great. Okay, let's see here. So we've got coffee. Okay, we need eggs. So we bring this down. Correct. Have some, I believe these are sunny side up eggs. Sure looks like it to me. Then once again, we want to make sure this encapsulates the majority of where our students are going to be clicking. So go over here. Good. All right. Good. That looks pretty good. And I think last but not least, we've got hash browns. And I'll make this a square just so it won't clash too much with the surrounding shapes. So click, drag, and hold again. We'll bring this right here. Correct. Hope you like your hash browns crispy. All right, so we've got all of this set. Now I just need to make sure this is the right size. Good. Okay. So we've got our hotspots. So if they miss or have an empty one, you can change the feedback here. You can also allow them to retry or close it. So here they've got their hotspots. I can go ahead and click save. And then what you'll see here in just a moment is going to be the find the multiple hotspots. So please find the coffee, eggs, hash browns, and English muffin. So if I click outside of it, see, I get a 0 out of 1. Then if I click on my English muffins, and
can the hotspots overlap?
So
can the hotspots overlap?
Yeah, great question. So I think technically they could. However, there might be some errors there. And see, folks, I made a mistake even in building this. Right now, it's only labeling it out of 1. So I need to go back and edit this. And I need to make sure in the hotspots themselves. So when I edit this, so this is, there can be correct. However, the user gets correct and incorrect. I'm trying to remember now. Let's see here if this will make it so there's 4 or 5. Let's see here. So let's try that and see. Now this should give us 1, 2, 3, 4 options. So that all should be good now. It's a mistake I've made a few times making these. So let's see. So now if I click here, so now it's still 0 out of 1. I'm trying to remember. There is a way to make it multiple hotspots. Let's see here. Hotspots. Okay, double click. To edit an existing hotspot, drag to the pull resize. I swear there was a way you could make multiple ones. Let's see here. Bring the front, send it back. There can be correct. However, the user gets correct, incorrect immediately after the first click. So my apologies, folks. When I built one of these the other day, I had multiple ones. I don't know why this is only counting it out of 1. Should be counting it out of 4. So that is a bit odd. Let's see. So background image, metadata. right. I think it's still going to show one, but let's see if I have to click all of them in order for it to be considered correct. So let's see. So I click here at 0 out of 1. So no. Okay. So we've got 1 out of 1. That's really strange. Did I do hotspot or multiple? I thought I did multiple, but let's see here. So that, oh, maybe I just did let's see here. My apologies, folks. I might have built the wrong one. Oh, yep. See, I think I did find the hotspot and not find multiple hotspots. Let's see here. Okay. So that's why. I was going to say that looked kind of weird. So, okay. So click on the different food options. You need to find the coffee, hash browns, English muffin, and eggs. There we go. So now we need to add the background image. American breakfast. Again, we add it. Then we go to hotspots. Yep. So here we go. So now this one will have multiple hotspots. So please find the following food rank items. And what we'll do here is we'll overlap one and let's see what happens. So we've got English muffin, eggs, hash browns, coffee, everything. Yes. Okay, good. Okay, hotspot name. Okay, please enter with the IE risks object. So I believe I can just copy paste this here. Okay, if left blank, the default number of correct hotspots created. So I can, because I know it's going to be 4 things, I can go with 4. And now we'll click, drag, and hold. So this is correct. And then correct. So enjoy your English muffin. And what I'll do is I'll make it so this will overlap with the coffee. And then let's see what happens here. We're all learning new things today. So we'll bring it here with the coffee and then we'll see what happens. My guess is if you click in the overlapping area, depending on which is deemed in front, it will probably label it as that, but we'll see. I wonder if it won't even let me do it. We'll see.
Yeah, I was just noting that while you were editing, I noticed that there are actually buttons for send to front, bring to back.
Yep.
So that looks like that probably determines which one it is in front.
I believe so, yes. Because see this bring to front here. I think you're absolutely right, Adam. So we'll see. We'll test it out and we'll find out. So we're doing it live, folks. So correct. Have some sunny side up eggs. Okay. And like I said, folks, so don't accidentally click on find the hotspot and try to build multiple hotspots and then be surprised when you're not able to do multiple hotspots. Make sure you click on the multiple hotspots option. Okay, so once again, sorry, folks, if you can hear my dog barking in the background. She does not love it when we have folks walking in front of our house. Okay, there we go. All right, we'll make that one not overlap. Okay, so we've got all of this. You can have some feedback if you'd like. For the sake of time, though, we'll just hit save and then we'll take a look. So we've got our American breakfast hotspot. So now if I click over here, it'll say 0. If I click here, enjoy your English muffin. Click here. Oh, I should have clicked in the middle there. Let's see what happens if I click kind of there. Okay, gives us that little error message. Click here. Okay. And there. Good. Now, I'm not sure why when I clicked on hash browns, it gave kind of a weird message there. But as you can see here, you are able to click in here and get your hotspots.
I think your hash brown might not be selected as a correct answer.
You are correct. Thank you, Adam. Good. So now that's correct. So now you can go through. So now what I'm going to do though is let's try this one last time and I'm going to click kind of right here on the edge of that coffee mug. And let's see, my guess is it'll be hash browns and not coffee because that one is in front. So let's test it. So if I click right here, it says, or not hash brown, sorry, English muffin. So yes, so it's based on whatever is in front. So if I click then over here, it does tell us have a sip of coffee. And if I click here for my hash browns, and thank you, Adam, very good eye. That wasn't marked as correct. So it was a hotspot, but it wasn't marked as correct. So you could also add some alternative hotspots that aren't correct if you wanted to, just as kind of like a distractor. And then I click my eggs. And as you can see here, I've got eggs. And what I like about these two is you can add some, funny or silly text once your students find all of these hotspots. So hotspots are great. This is a really fun activity. Probably not the fastest to build, at least not as fast as some of the other ones we've seen today, but still a very useful and helpful tool here. And yes, I love American bacon. It is so good. So yes. Okay. And then last but not least, we've got some flashcards here as well. So flashcards, great for memorization, vocabulary, any type of concept review or self-study. I've had a lot of students ask me, Professor, can I have flashcards to review, the vocabulary from our chapter? And this is where I really love having H5P and using it. So let me show you all how we can build some flashcards. Nice, quick, and easy. So we go back to our content bank here in Moodle. Or if you don't have your Moodle set up this way, you could probably go to h5p.org and go from there. So for me, I have to hit add, and then I go to F for flashcards. By the way, there's also these dialogue cards. They're very similar to flashcards. So that's something else to keep in mind here. And as you can see, folks, I've made a lot of different flashcards here. These are all flashcards. And one other thing I really love about H5P is you can tell what the type of activity is based on the icons you see, which I find very helpful. So just another quick tip for all of you. So we'll do flashcards. Okay, we'll do flashcards. And I'm going to test out my German knowledge here, folks. So we'll see how much German vocabulary I remember. Please match the German word with the or here. Please match the German word with the question text. With the, and actually we'll do this with the English word. We'll do it this way. Nice and easy. So we'll say apple. In German, it's Apfel. By the way, you can add images too if you wanted to. Totally up to you. Let's see here. We'll do what's another good one. Sausage. Well, actually, it's technically just Wurst. Bratwurst is a roasted sausage. Let's see here. We'll do cheese. I hope my dog didn't hear me say that. She loves cheese. All right. Käse is cheese in German. Let's see here. We'll do what's another good German food? I don't know about all of you, but I love German mustard. So we'll do Senf for mustard. Let's see here. What's another good one? Noodles, Nudeln. We'll do 6. Another one. Very important. You got to have your bread, which is Brot in German. All right. So we've got all of this. So this is good. And actually, you probably want, please match the English word because they'll see that first. And then they'll have to match it with the German word. If I spoke better Japanese, folks, I would have this in Japanese. But unfortunately, my Japanese skills are very minimal. So we'll randomize the cards as well. But that's really up to you. You could also do case sensitivity. I'll do it as actually I will not do it as case sensitive, just because that doesn't really matter to me. I'd rather have them recognize the term. So we've got mustard. So then I type in Senf and I check it. And I get this green little check mark. That one is correct. Cheese. This one does have the German umlauts, which are the 2 dots. So we've got Käse. All right, well, should go in just a second here. Nudeln. Check it. Good. Wurst. Brot. And Apfel. So as you can see, I mean, once again, I think that one was made in 2, maybe 3 minutes. So flashcards are really, really useful and really great. Generally, I tend to use this more for vocabulary or even sometimes concepts if I'm showing them like an image or I want them to label the image. But this is a super fun and super useful tool. If you wanted to do more of a memory game, then I would recommend dialogue cards. This one is better for, you give them questions or sentences and then they write an answer, whereas dialogue cards is more kind of like a traditional flashcard where you flip it over, which is also pretty fun to use. But I figured flashcards for today's use case is much faster and easier to build. So anyway, so that's our flashcards. Let's take a quick look back here now, what we've got. So I do briefly want to discuss kind of the workflow that I tend to think of when I want to build these H5P activities. Generally, I start out with, I love starting with why, or also, what concept or problem that this H5P activity can solve. You can also look at it as learning objectives, right? So I think that is really, really useful. In one moment here, we've got a question in the chat here. These exercises take time, so I'm wondering how teaching teams can share the creation load. Japan, we use Sharing Cart and the Showcase or MoodleNet. How do you recommend sharing H5P quizzes? Yeah, wonderful question. So I can't really speak for how it would work with Sharing Cart or Showcase. Maybe one of you with more experience in Japan can speak on this. But what I can say is, for us, if you put it in the content bank, you can at least instructors in our Moodle courses should be able to go in and edit them. So if there's like a shared Moodle course with multiple teachers, they can go in and edit them. The other thing is with H5P, you can also download the H5P activity and then someone else could upload it and then edit it. But then once again, they would need to then download it and send it to you and you would upload it. So yes, and the content bank, I will say it might be specific to our instance of Moodle. So maybe something like Lumi might be better for all of you. But I know you can share H5P activities because I've shared it with faculty before. But the way that we have shared it is we have, like I said, we've dropped it in our Moodle for the instructor. They go in and they can edit it and change it there. So my apologies for not having a solid concrete answer for all of you, but I hope at least those are a couple ideas and things you can think of. So yes, I believe so. We are definitely on, I think we're on 4.2 or 4. I think we're on, yeah, because we did 4.0. We pushed that update pretty much when it happened or a few months afterwards. So I know we're on Moodle 4.0. So yes. Anyways, back to our simple H5P workflow. So really think about your learning objectives and identify something that students might struggle with. In my own teaching experience, a lot of times it's been, verb tenses can be very challenging, especially with English and with German, they can be tricky. Vocabulary words and really making sure that they understand them and not only understand them, but they build retention when it comes to their vocabulary words. Then think about which activity type might fit that learning objective best. And I've showed you 5 today. I think any of these 5 can be useful for a lot of different scenarios, which can be great. From there, you would want to create your activity. So for us, we do build it in the Moodle content bank. For all of you, you might want to try it either on moodle.org or something like that. I always recommend previewing the activity because like we saw with my what I thought was multiple hotspots and was a find the hotspot, had I not previewed it, I wouldn't have known that it was only one hotspot. So it's always good to test these things on your own and then adding it to your Moodle course. And depending on which version of Moodle you're on, it could be different. For us, we're really lucky, and I can show all of you kind of how this works just quickly since we do have a little bit of time here. For us, we're very fortunate that we can add things directly in Moodle, and we can add it to the gradebook. So for example, so I've got some different H5P examples here. I can just click this blue plus icon here. Oh, wait, I'm sorry, folks. Let me share my screen. Sorry about that. Let me share my screen. I realized I wasn't sharing my screen there. Okay, so I'm in my Moodle course here. I've got my edit mode turned on. And then I just want to click on this blue plus icon and click activity or resource. And then for us, we're lucky that we have this H5P built right in our Moodle. So I can click add a new H5P. We'll do let's do the American breakfast one. Why not? American breakfast. Hotspot activity. Then for us in our instance, you can either click files or click this plus icon, and you want to go to the content bank. And then this is actually the find the multiple hotspots. This was that find the singular hotspot. So I'll click on this one. And by the way, folks, I generally recommend linking to the file and not making a copy. The reason why is I prefer linking to the file. So if I make any edits or changes later on, it will reflect it on my live Moodle course page. If I made a copy of it, I would have to go into that specific copy and make a change. So as you can imagine, if you make a copy, and then also if you were to import this course in the future, there could be numerous copies and that can just become a headache. So I like to do this to keep things simple. Select this file. In the H5P options, let's say you wanted to share this in the future with another instructor at your institution. For us, if I allow the download, they could download it as a .h5p file and then upload it into their course content if they wanted to. I generally don't select either of these options, the embed or the copyright, and I'll just deselect this one for now. Actually, you know what? I will keep it selected so I can show you all where that is in case you ever wanted to share. Yeah.
Question on the allow download button. Does that allow students to download it too?
I'm not sure. That's a really good question. I'm not sure if students are able to download it or not.
Yes, it does.
It does. Very good.
It does.
Bill, how
I
do you
made that
know?
mistake. I made that mistake. Learn from me, please. Sorry.
Okay, good. Well, that's very good to know. Yes. So if you don't want your students to download your H5P content, you'll want to disable that feature. But for today's example, I'll leave it so you all can see where this would be. And then for our Moodle, you can also select whether or not you want it in the gradebook. I'll keep it in the gradebook. For now, you could even have a grade to pass if you wanted to. For attempt options, I do enable the attempt tracking so I can go back in the reports and see how my students have been doing. You can also decide, I generally keep it as the highest grade and I do allow numerous attempts, but you could also do the average, the last, the first, and so forth. I tend to leave it as highest. And I generally do allow participants to review their own attempts. So yes, so I've got all of that there. I'll leave all of these other settings be. They're not super important for today's presentation. I'll hit, if I hit save and display, you'll just kind of see what this will look like after I would click on it. So here's my hotspot again. And then if my students had taken this, I could click on this attempts report or this view attempts and then see how my students had been doing. If I needed to edit the content, maybe I realized, oh no, I've got my English muffins and my coffee overlapping. I could click this edit H5P content and go right back into edit mode in the H5P editor and change that. And then this reuse, this is where you can download it. So if I click reuse, I can download this as a .h5p file. Your students can also do that. So thank you for letting us know about that, Bill. So your students could also download it. If you don't want them downloading that, then don't allow that option. But that is how you could download it if you wanted to. And then I'll go back to my main Moodle course page here, and you all will see here is my American Breakfast hotspot activity. It's added in my Moodle course. And I can do it there. The other nice thing, at least in our instance of Moodle, we can also add this, for example, to a page or a book in Moodle, which I love. So let me show all of you just very quickly. American Breakfast. I'm sorry if I'm making all of you hungry with this American Breakfast example, folks. So this description, this would actually be displayed on the main course page. I'll leave this be for now. But here is where I can also click this H5P button, which I think is super cool. Click Browse Repositories. And then in my content bank, I can click on this American Breakfast hotspot. Once again, I want to link to the main file, select this file, insert. Now right here, this is just a gray box that says H5P. This doesn't tell us much, but once I hit save and display, you'll all see something very magical. Here is my H5P content. So we teach a course at my institution. When I say we, I mean the instructional design team teaches a course, and we actually have H5P activities embedded throughout pages and books, just as quick comprehension checks for faculty taking our course all about online teaching and learning. So we find this to be really useful, being able to add this in pages and books, and also if you just want it as a standalone assignment, adding it to your main course page as well. So just a couple quick things I wanted to show everybody on Moodle with H5P that I find to be very helpful and super useful. So yes. Alrighty. So a few final quick tips I'll leave all of you with. And then if you have any questions, I'm happy to discuss them. First and foremost, if you've never used H5P before, I highly recommend starting small. Start with a simple activity like a drag the words, fill in the blanks, something like that. And as you build your skills and confidence, move on to more complicated ones like branching scenarios or interactive videos. I love those. Those are great. Oops, sorry, folks. Also, you want to use H5P for practice. I mean, you could use it for high stakes grading, but I think that defeats the purpose of a lot of H5P activities, right? I think the whole point of these is for students to have fun, try things out. Like I said, I generally give my students unlimited attempts to do these. So once again, the goal really is practice and learning and not testing. I mentioned embedding them directly in Moodle pages, books. You can also embed it in your main course page, which is great. I also, yes, definitely formative, not summative, 100%. I couldn't agree more with that. Also, folks, what I love so much about H5P is how easy it is to reuse them in numerous courses and how easy it is to tweak them. So for example, if I'm teaching a first semester language course, I could probably reuse a lot of these in my second semester language course by copying them over and then making them a little bit more challenging, right? So it's really easy to build on these, reuse them, modify them, and save you all some time, because I know as instructors, we're all super busy, right? So anytime we can save ourselves a little bit of time so we can focus more on teaching and connecting with our students, I think is great. And the key here too, I've seen some faculty get very bogged down with trying to make their H5P activities look really cool and interesting and neat. And while their heart is certainly in the right place, the main goal here is really focusing on your learning goals, right? Students are not probably going to care how flashy or fancy it looks. At the end of the day, students want to be able to understand and learn and do the activities properly. So really focus on your learning goals and reaching those. And I mean, if it looks great, that's just an added bonus, but that isn't usually my main focus. So yeah, so thank you all for listening. I really appreciate doing these demos with all of you, because there was some really good feedback. I appreciate Adam's keen eye on a couple things as well. So any questions or anything I can help you all out with today regarding H5P?
Okay, thank you very much. I'm just going to take a quick moment here to mention that, well, first of all, to say thank you very much to Chad Bousley for a wonderful presentation. I haven't used all that many of the different content types in H5P before, so I've definitely learned a lot. And I got a whole bunch of stuff that I want to try tomorrow with my students. So I think pretty much everyone here and everyone watching the recording later will probably have the same feeling. So thank you very much for an awesome presentation. Round of applause, as they would say. For M-webinars later, we will also be still continuing to accept proposals for presentations by our members. And so I will post that link as soon as I can find where I left it. Sorry, I'm here we go. Yoink. So that is the link to moodlejapan.org. You can actually also just go to moodlejapan.org, and at the top there is a course link to the course for the M-webinars. Check out the other webinars there. And if you're a Madge member, please submit a proposal to present. At this point, I'm going to say one more time, thank you very much to Chad and for everyone for coming. I am going to stop the recording now, and then we will stick around for questions. So come in person to the next one if you want to see what questions happen thereafter. Thank you very much.